Time to pull up a chair. We've got another great story for today in the rLounge. You move in with your fiance, excited for your future together. Life is good, until his mom crashes the party. If you move out and leave them unable to afford the apartment, does that make you the bad guy, or just the only adult in the room? Let's discuss that today in the rLounge. Would I be the a-hole if I moved out of our apartment knowing that my fiance and his mom can't afford it without me? Me, female 29, and my ex-fiance, male 27, have been living together for about 1.5 years. Fiance got his undergraduate degree, worked for a couple years, and then decided to get an MBA, which is how he ended up in our city. We moved in together after he finished his MBA program. Fiance is from the Midwest, and his mom has always wanted him to move back. When he told her he was staying here, she was heartbroken. I went to college and got my degree in a STEM field. After I graduated, I got a job with my current company and moved to the city where we currently live. It's a big international company with multiple locations in the US and international. I love my job. I like the company I work for, and the pay is pretty good. All in all, a pretty good deal. During COVID, my office shut down and we all went work from home. After COVID, they decided not to reopen this office, so I've been 100% work from home since early 2020. I currently make considerably more than him, mainly because I've been working for 7 years and I'm in tech. I had been living by myself in a 1-bedroom apartment and just had my office set up in the living room since it was just me. When we moved in together, we decided to get a 2-bedroom apartment so I could use the extra room as an office. Because of this, I was paying 2/3 of the rent and he paid 1/3. We split everything else 50-50. So the problem started this past May. Fiance's mom told him she wanted to move to our city to be closer to him. She asked if she could stay with us while she looked for a job and got settled. She's a teacher, so figured she'd be able to get a teaching job pretty quickly. Because of that, I didn't really mind her staying with us, as I figured it would just be for a couple of months over the summer. Since I thought it would only be for a couple of months, I moved my office into a corner of our bedroom, and Fiance bought a bed to put in the second bedroom. The problem is she never applied for any teaching positions and has been living with us for 6 months now. She and I have really been struggling with each other since she moved in. I can't make her understand that I work full time. She constantly interrupts while I'm working, which is bad enough, but she even interrupts while I'm on Teams calls. She always asks me to take her to places because she doesn't like to drive in our city. She has pretty outdated views of gender roles and is constantly giving me a hard time for not doing more around the house and making Fiance help with chores, do his own laundry, etc. The constant criticism and insults are just really wearing me down, and I hate having my office shoved in a corner of the bedroom. Back in September, I told my fiance that since it looks like his mom is going to stay a while, we should split the rent 3 ways. He told me she can't afford that since she has to conserve money until she gets a job. I told him I wasn't happy paying extra for a bedroom I can't use, so finally he said we could do a 50-50 split. I could afford to pay the extra, but I hate the idea of funding her lifestyle. Every time I complain about her or the situation, he says he agrees but doesn't know what to do because he can't kick out his mom, and he won't talk to her about the way she treats me or how she behaves. When I ask what the bedroom plan is, he just says he doesn't know. I've thought about giving him an ultimatum to tell her she has to leave, but I think he'd end up resenting me for essentially putting his mom on the street. So one of my girlfriends is losing her roommate the end of February. Our lease renews June 1st. I'm very strongly considering moving out of our current apartment and moving in with her. I can afford to pay my part of the rent on our current apartment and also half the rent at my friend's apartment. It's not ideal, but I'm not a big spender, so it's doable. The issue is, if he and his mom aren't able to pay for 1/3 of the rent each, there is no way they could cover the whole thing on their own. But I can't live like this anymore. So I'm pretty sure this is what I'll do, but I wanted to see if people thought I'd be the a-hole for leaving them like this. Let's see what people think then. First up, his mom is the biggest A because she specifically planned this. It isn't that she has bad luck. She didn't even apply. Add in that she didn't respect your workplace and insults you. She's basically trying to be the matriarch of the house, while being a complete mooch. The biggest problem is your fiance, though. This is just a glimpse of your future with a mama's boy. He's made it clear that he's okay with her walking all over you, and she's not leaving. You're going to end up as a third wheel in your own marriage. Next person says, I agree. His mom is taking advantage, and your fiance isn't setting boundaries. It's a big concern for the future. You deserve better, not the a-hole. Next bit of advice, exactly this. OP, you're not leaving them, you're escaping a situation that was never fair to you in the first place. His mom didn't just end up staying, she chose not to apply for jobs, and your fiance chose to let her. Meanwhile, You've been paying the majority of the rent, lost your office, and now you're stuck in your own home with someone who disrespects you daily. If he wanted to build a life with you, he would have had a plan for this months ago. Instead, you're the only one being asked to sacrifice. Time to choose yourself, because they already have. Next bit of advice. And be prepared for them to be upset because they are losing their money bags. They were using you and had absolutely no respect for you. Neither one of them. If you don't leave, you will be the a-hole. The next person. Good news. You discovered your fiance is a mama's boy before you got legally entangled. The price is 3 months of paying double rent. Sucks, but much cheaper than divorce. Alimony, child support, and years of therapy because of dealing with that kind of mother-in-law. Mommy wanted to prove her darling boy would pick her and take care of her. So she moved in and proved it. He won't stand up to her. Sadly, unless he gets some serious therapy and figures out how to unmesh, he's never going to. So tell him flat out, Mommy wins. She gets her little boy back. You will find a grown man. You'll pay your portion of the rent for the next few months, but you're letting the landlord know you will not be renewing and do not use your income for renewal for him and Mommy. I'm sorry you have to deal with this. You did what you could, but unless he wants to grow up, you're going to spend decades hearing how you don't cook right, clean right, raise your kids, spend money, vacation wrong, and have bad values. She, of course, knows better. Don't do that to yourself, and maybe, just maybe, this will make him realize he's got to get off Mommy's titty if he ever wants a life of his own. Judgment, not the a-hole. Your fiancé has already made his choice, and unfortunately, it wasn't you. It was his mother. And let's be real, she never planned to leave. She didn't fail to get a job. She never applied. And her fiancé? Well, he's basically a human doormat at this point. Get the heck out of there. Update. 5 days later. I posted here last week about the situation I'm in, living with my soon-to-be ex-fiancé and his mom. I started off trying to reply to everyone's comments and kept up, but honestly, I just got completely overwhelmed with all the comments. First off, I want to thank everyone for their feedback and comments, even the ones that were kind of harsh. Actually, probably especially the ones that were kind of harsh. I really needed some tough love to make me realize that I was letting my soon-to-be ex and his mom take advantage of me. The more comments I read, the more pissed off I got. Honestly, I think I'm pissed off at myself for allowing this to happen and not advocating for myself more. This past week, I got my soon-to-be ex alone so we could talk, which was actually harder than it should have been because his mom always tries to tag along when we do anything. Going through all the comments everyone left and the PMs people sent really helped me decide how to approach this, and also brought up a lot of good questions I should have thought of myself. Back to the discussion with the ex. I wanted to give him one more chance to pick us over his mom, not because I thought he would, but I just wanted to be able to tell myself I gave him the opportunity. I explained again about how unhappy I am with the situation, how it's affecting my work because of her constant interruptions, and just being unhappy and uncomfortable that I'm forced to work out of a corner in our bedroom. And I reminded him that until a few months ago, I was paying the majority of the rent, and being that I make so much more than him, it's really my salary that keeps us all afloat. And I also brought up, again, the way she treats me and talks to me. And he replied the same way he has been. He agrees it's not right how she acts, and that it's really uncomfortable for us all. What the F? I don't care if she's uncomfortable. Previously, I would have dropped it there. But this time I told him how angry and disappointed I was that he let me pay for 2/3 of the rent when she first moved, and how unfair it was that I'm still paying for half where there are 3 people living there and she's the only one with her own bedroom. It was the same story. She has to conserve money since she doesn't have any income currently. Which brought up the question of where all her stuff went when she moved. What money does she use for incidentals? So evidently, when she got divorced, she asked for the divorce after my ex went off to college. It doesn't sound like her husband's ex's dad wanted the divorce. His dad bought her out of the equity in their house. Ex didn't have any idea how much that was or how much is left. But until she moved here, she was working full-time as a teacher and living in a small apartment, so she should not have had to tap into the divorce settlement money very much. Other than that, Ex didn't have much insight to her finances other than what she told him, that she has to conserve money. I told him straight up that I'm moving out before the end of the month, and from now on, I'm only paying 25%. As some of the commenters pointed out, she has a whole bedroom while I have to share with a man-child, so she should have to pay twice as much. And after I move out, I'm not paying for anything else. No utilities, no food, nothing other than rent. I have a pretty idea what his finances are like, and if he has to pay 75% of the rent all by himself, it's going to take a huge chunk of his net income. And after he pays utilities and buys groceries, there won't be anything left for incidentals. Rent was due on the 1st, but it's not late until after the 5th, so he has 2 days to come up with the money. If he doesn't come up with it, and I end up covering, then I'll reduce the amount I pay in future months. The only reason I'm going to keep paying any of the rent is even after I move out, I'm still on the hook. I talked to the leasing office and they explained that since X and I signed a single rental agreement together, for example, one contract we both signed as opposed to 2 contracts we sign individually, we are both responsible for the rent. They don't care who actually pays as long as it gets paid. The only alternative would be if he agrees to sign a new lease by himself or together with his mom, but in all likelihood, he wouldn't be able to pass the credit check on his own. So I'm kind of stuck. I don't think he'll do anything stupid though, because he's going to need to find someplace to live after this, and a collection on his credit report wouldn't be great. I also told him that I'm going to find someplace to work during the day until I move, so she can't bother me. My friend I'm moving in with said I could work there during the day since she and her current roommate have in-person 9-to-5s. I took her up on that for now. After living with his mom, I'm not about to overstay my welcome, so I'm going to find some other options that I can rotate through. Someone suggested checking out the public library, or if it comes to it, I'll get a membership at one of those WeWork kind of places. Just in case, I brought my important papers, files, and valuables, and my friend is storing them for me until I move in. He really didn't take it well. The surprising thing to me is that he was surprised by everything. He seemed really shocked that I wasn't prioritizing his mom. I really got the feeling that he sincerely believed I wanted to take care of her as much as him, and he kept saying stuff like, "What about my mom? What am I going to tell her? That's how she is, but we still need to help her," etc. He asked about our relationship and the engagement. I told him after I move out, I need some space from him. In a few months, when we both had some time and space to process what happened, if we both agree, we can talk about the relationship. But he'd have to prove that he's going to have my back going forward, and we'll set boundaries with his mom. I told him that just to avoid more drama, but I don't see a future in which we are together. I told him he needs to tell his mom because she's not my responsibility or problem, and she'll know something's up when I start moving my stuff out. He hasn't told her what's going on yet, but this weekend I'm going to start moving things so he doesn't have much time. My friend's current roommate starts a new job in another state on the 3rd, so in reality, I could probably move in 2 to 3 weeks, just depending when she actually leaves. I don't expect him to do anything bad, other than sulk and complain, but if he does something stupid or doesn't pay his part of the rent, the ace up my sleeve is, I'll tell the leasing office his mom moved in, which is prohibited in the lease. Honestly, getting evicted would solve a lot of my problems right now, so it's a pretty valid threat, I think. Now that I have mentally and emotionally separated myself from him and his mom, I'm looking forward to her reaction when he tells her what's going on. If it gets too ugly, I'll find a cheap Airbnb or hotel or something. I've had some friends, including the one I'm moving in with, offer to let me couch surf for a few weeks, but I just can't do that to someone else. So that's it. I'm leaving and I really don't care how that affects them. Now for some more comments. First one, you're at the end of a long and painful process, but I'm sure that you'll be the better for it. Good luck. Next up, dude should really just marry his mom. And one more, notify your landlord in writing that you are moving out and to take you off the lease after June 1st. You wouldn't want to do nothing and accidentally trigger an automatic renewal. The OP replies, already did that. I did it before I went to talk to the front office and confirmed that they received it while I was down there. Honestly, the fact that he was shocked by all of this is hilarious. Like, sir, were we in the same relationship? You're making all the right moves here, OP. Getting your important stuff out, securing a workspace, giving him just enough rope to hang himself financially. You gave him every chance in the world. He's just chained to his mother at this point, and I don't think anything will ever change that. Good on you for not putting up with that. Save yourself. Was OP in the wrong here? What would you have done? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And thank you for joining us today in the rLounge. Be sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on our next video. Until next time. And please put your chair back where you found it.